Hello, how we doing today? We are looking at 5.5 today. We're going to solve some quadratic equations by factoring. What this kind of gets to is all of you kids that keep asking, hey, why are we doing this? Well, one of the reasons that you need to know how to factor is so that you can solve some quadratics a little bit easier. Definitely going to find this method easier than what you're going to be doing next week. That's for sure. So, what must be true about our quadratic before we can solve it? You're going to find out that today you've got to be able to factor it. Can't factor it, we can't really use this whole thing that we're doing today. And there's your wonderful homework assignment I'm sure all of us will be taking a look at tomorrow in class. Alright, so our standard form, want to remember that's our ax squared plus bx plus c. Big idea here is that it's all the stuff equals 0. That's going to be our main thing here, is we want to get all our stuff on one side and have that equal to 0 on the other side. Our zero product property basically says here, if I take two things, doesn't matter what they are, and I multiply them and they equal 0, well, either A or B, one of those two had to be 0. You don't multiply things and get 0 without one of them being 0. So that's all this says. It's kind of common sense, but we need to talk about it a little bit because that's the whole crux of everything we're going to talk about today. So here, big, ugly, nasty equation. Nobody wants to deal with this. So what did we do? Well, we added an x squared and we subtracted an x. So we got to cancel, leaves us with our 0 on this side. 2 plus 1 makes the 3, negative 4 and negative 1 here make our negative 5. So we've got all of our stuff over here equal to 0. And that's the main first step that you need to take. Got to get all your stuff on one side. So now here we're just kind of looking at it and decided, how do I want to factor it? If you want to try and go get some box method going on and try and work that out, go for it. I'm going to run through AC method here because she already typed it out that way, and we were just using it, so it's a good review on what we were doing there. Take our 3 times our 8, gets that negative 24. Well, we want something that's going to subtract to that 5, but give us 24, so we're thinking, hey, that sounds like an 8 and a 3. 8's going to be negative because the 5 is negative, and that sign always gives us our bigger term that way. So our 5x has been split into our 8x and our 3x. Just start factoring that thing by parts here, pulling out an x. Here, nothing in common, so we pull out that 1. Remember, you want to make sure you bring that 1 out just in case you forget things later. So we've got my x and my plus 1 give me this term, and my 3x minus 8 over here on this side. So what we've got is the same idea as what we had before. A times b equals 0. Well, one of these two things has to be 0. So what we're going to do is we're going to check, hey, what if 3x minus 8 was my one that equals 0? So you take your first parenthesis group, and that's all this is. It's that first parenthesis group. Add 8, divide by 3, and we get this answer. Here's my second parenthesis group, a little bit easier, just subtract the 1, and I got this answer. So what that gives us is our two different choices. X could have been this to make my first parenthesis group 0 and make everything 0. Or x could have been negative 1 to make my second parenthesis group 0 and thus all of it 0. So we write our solution a little bit in set notation with our nice little curly brackets and stuff, put it in a box, leave it and go home. Generally we go from our smallest thing to our biggest thing, but it's not a huge deal. So here we are with example number 1, factored for us already. So all I got to do is kind of split it off into my two little parts. What if x plus 2 equals 0? Well, what would x be? Subtract 2, subtract 2. So x equals negative 2. Same thing here, x minus 8. What if that was the one that equals 0? Add 8, add 8. Oh, those are some horrible 8s. I do apologize. So x equals 8. So I've got my two different answers here. Let's write it up in some nice curly brackets, negative 2 and 8. Oh, those are gross. Sorry you gotta look at this. Alright. So go ahead and give number 2 a try on your own real fast. Hit pause. Take a look at it. So let's check it out. 2x minus 3. Put that equal to 0. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. Gives me 3 over here. 2x equal to 3. Divide by 2, divide by 2. And x equals 3 halves. Yes, fractions might happen from time to time. They are numbers too. Please don't hate on the fractions just because they look a little bit different. Add 12 over here, solving my second one up, and x equals 12. Some of us that are a little bit quicker might start to see the pattern here. So x equals either 3/2 or 12. I swear I can draw those brackets better. It's just not working for me today. But you might start getting the pattern that you just kind of take this number here, change its sign, and divide by the other one. Yeah, you can get that and stop, kind of working it out every time if you get used to that real quick. But we're going to work them out here. So example number 3, I'm going to leave that one for you guys. Well, what is happening here? You might be a little bit worried. Think about if it said x plus 0, x minus 23, what would we do? Deal with it. You'll be alright. Give it a try. Example number 4, again, same thing as what we just did before that. Go ahead and give it a try. You're going to get a fraction answer for both. Yes, it's okay. Fractions are numbers too. Example number 5, let's take a look at that. Not already factored for us, so we're going to have to take a look at what do we do here. Well, if you want to throw some box method over here on the side, I'm looking for an x squared. I got a minus 20, x and x. What's multiplying to 20, but subtracting to my 8x across the middle? I don't know, man. This is a mess. How about maybe a positive 10 and a minus 2? That seems like that's going to work. So, setting up my parenthesis groups here, I got x plus 10 and x minus 2. 10 times 2 makes the 20, and 10 minus 2 makes my positive 8. So what are my answers going to be? This one's going to give me negative 10. This one's going to give me positive 2. So I set up my answers. I'm going to go with negative 10, comma, 2. This one's looking a little bit better. Alright, example number 6. Well, what needs to happen here? I don't have equal to 0 on this side, so I need to make that happen. I'm going to subtract 30 from both sides. And what that gives me is x squared minus x minus 30 equal to 0. We have got to get all our stuff over here on one side, and we've got to have 0 here before we can do any of this stuff with our zero product kind of rule. Doesn't even matter if you can factor this or not. Not going to help you. Alright, so it's multiplying to 30, but subtracting to make a 1 here. I'm hoping it's 5 and 6. And since this is negative, that's going to be my negative 6. And x plus 5 equal to 0. So this one I'm going to get x equals positive 6, and this one's going to be x equals negative 5. You want to make sure you don't just write negative 6 and positive 5 as your answers. It's going to be really easy to mess that up. We've got to change our signs when we're coming out of that parentheses and solving it equal to 0. So x equals my group of negative 5 and 6. Oh, these things are getting worse. I'm sorry you people have to witness these ugly, ugly brackets. That's why I have kids write on the board for me in class. Doesn't work out as disgusting. Maybe it does. Alright, if you want to try box method on this, go ahead. I'm going to do a little AC method because it's fun to me. 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. So what's multiplying to negative 40 but kind of adding up or subtract to that 3? I'm going to go with 8 and 5. Sounds like the good numbers. Since this is negative, it means my 8's probably the negative and the 5's probably my positive. So I've got my 5x squared. My 3x is going to be my split here. Alright, minus 8x plus 5x minus 8 equals 0. So again, just rewriting things except for splitting that 3x here into my minus 8x and my plus 5. So as we go on, factoring 5x and 8x, they don't have anything in common but that x. So 5x minus 8 here. These guys here, nothing in common, so I'm going to write that plus 1. Gotta make sure we put that out there, it's important. Oh, equals 0. So 5x minus 8, they've got that in common. My other parenthesis group, x plus 1. Yeah, what would a lesson be without a nice announcement? Makes you feel right in class again, huh? So, last little bit here. Since this one is going to be a fraction, I'm going to work it out. 5x minus 8 equals 0. Add 8, add 8. So 5x equals 8. Divide by 5. And I got my 8/5. There's my answer for my fraction. X plus 1 equals 0, so x equals -1. So, ooh, there's my best bracket of the day. -1 and 8/5. I don't know why my left ones, my right ones, they're just different. Things go different ways. I don't know. One of those mysteries in life, I suppose. Example number 8. Oh man, this is one of those ones that you look at it and you get a little confused, but once you realize, hey man, it's actually easier. What do these have in common? They both have an x in common. X plus 3 equals 0. Oh, well that's easy. Since this is all by itself here, that means x equals 0 over there. This one means x equals -3. So my two solutions, 0 and -3. Guess I should have wrote that the other way probably, huh? -3 comma 0. I just wanted to make you look at more really ugly brackets. That one's, oh, let's pretend that never happened. Next. Example number 9. I really encourage you guys to give this a try on your own, this number 9 and number 10. Hit pause, give those a try, see where you get. I'm going to work them out anyway just to make sure you can see how to do it, but give it a try, see how you do. Alright, so here we go, example number 9. If you want to try and work this out with some box method because you don't see the pattern, 9x squared plus 0x minus 25, and see if you can factor that with a 0x in the middle. Just think of what multiplies here, going to cancel out. I'm going to see the pattern, I'm going to think, hey, that's 3x plus 5 and 3x minus 5, because I know my difference of squares pattern. Now I'm going to make my life a little bit easier. So solving here, 3x plus 5 equals 0. Subtract 5 on both sides, so 3x equals -5. Divide by 3. Oh, x equals -5 over 3. Nice. So that's taking care of the other side as well. The only difference is that negative sign. So what's going to happen here? I'm going to have to add 5, so 3x is going to equal +5. And we divide by our 3, so x equals 5/3. Now you can write those independently. -5/3 and 5/3. I really love the plus minus sign. It's just one of my favorite things. So I tend to like writing like x equals plus or minus 5/3 just because that makes me feel good. And you can write your curly brackets around that too. I don't know if Mips Dobson feels the same way, but I just love plus minus sign. It makes me happy. Especially when kids think it's an equal sign with a cross on top. It's always a good time. And example number 10, last thing for the day. Alright, well, what do we got here? X minus 9. X minus 9 equals 0. So we get x equals 9 and x equals 9. This is what they call a double root. We'll work on these a lot more later on, especially when we get to graphing these things and that sort of stuff. So just x equals 9, only answer we got there. Hope you enjoyed your time. Good luck solving these in class.